So you're thinking about building a new PC or upgrading your current one in 2025. You've probably found yourself staring at the GPU market, especially that upper mid-range, and it can be a tough choice. Today, we're going to cut right through all that noise and give you a super clear breakdown to help you make the right call.
This is the big one, right? The RTX 4070 versus its bigger, meaner sibling, the RTX 4070 Ti. I mean, the names are so similar, but the differences in what they can do and what they'll cost you are pretty significant. So let's figure this out. Which one is the right move for your rig and, just as importantly, for your wallet?
All right, let's just dive straight in. We're going to get into the nitty-gritty of the specs, look at how these things actually perform in the real world, and we'll even glance at the competition. The goal here is a simple, clear answer for you.
Okay, before we start picking them apart, it's really important to know what these cards have in common. I mean, they're from the same family, right? They're built on the same powerful DNA.
And that shared foundation is NVIDIA's Ada Lovelace architecture. You can think of this as the engine that powers the entire RTX 40 series lineup. It's what gives these cards all their muscle for both incredible gaming graphics and heavy-duty AI work.
And man, there's some seriously cool tech packed into both of these cards. You're getting 4th-gen tensor cores that just blitz through AI tasks, 3rd-gen ray tracing cores that make game lighting look unbelievably real, plus a bunch of other advanced stuff that really juices the performance. The bottom line, no matter which one you pick, you are getting a very, very capable piece of modern hardware.
All right, now that we know what's the same, let's get to the main event, the spec showdown. This is where you really start to see the differences and where you can begin to figure out which card is the better fit for what you need.
And here we have it, the tale of the tape. Now you'll notice both cards have 12 gigs of VRAM, which is great, but the real story, the thing that explains almost everything, is in two key spots: the number of CUDA cores and the total graphics power.
The regular RTX 4070 rocks 5,888 CUDA cores. The easiest way to think about these is as the individual little processors doing all the hard work. This is the engine, the muscle, that drives its performance in everything you throw at it.
And here's where the Ti gets its swagger. It jumps up to 7,680 CUDA cores. That is a massive increase. We're talking nearly 30% more. And more cores means more raw power, which translates directly into higher frame rates in your games and faster renders for your projects.
Of course, all that performance comes at a cost, right? And not just in dollars, but in power. The RTX 4070 has a total graphics power of just 200 watts. That's fantastic. It makes it a super efficient card that runs cool and doesn't need a monster power supply.
The 4070 Ti, on the other hand, needs a lot more fuel for that bigger engine. It draws 285 watts. And that's not just a number on a spec sheet. It means you're going to need a beefier power supply, and you've got to make sure your case has good airflow to handle that extra heat.
This quote from Tom's Hardware really captures the vibe of the 4070 Ti when it launched. It was the card that took that super high-end performance and brought it down to a price that, while still pretty premium, was a little easier to stomach for a lot of people. So, what do all those extra cores and watts actually get you? Well, in the real world, it means the RTX 4070 Ti gives you a very real, very noticeable 20 to 30% performance boost over the standard 4070. We're talking about demanding games, creative apps. It's a difference you can absolutely feel.
But hold on. In 2025, it's not just a two-horse race. You can't just look at these two cards in a bubble. The market is always changing, and there are a couple of other key players you really need to have on your radar.
First up, we've got the wild card, the RTX 4070 Ti Super. And the most crucial thing about this card is the VRAM. It jumps from 12 to 16 gigabytes. Now, if you're doing any kind of AI work, this is huge. It's like getting a much bigger workbench, letting you run larger, more complicated AI models without slamming into a memory wall.
And then there's what's coming next. We have NVIDIA's next-generation Blackwell architecture, the engine that's going to power the RTX 50 series. And from everything we're hearing, this is going to be a massive generational leap with huge upgrades just about everywhere.
So why should you care about Blackwell? Well, for starters, it's bringing huge advances. For AI, it means being able to process information using way less memory, which is a massive efficiency boost. And for gamers, we're expecting DLSS 4 to deliver even smarter AI-powered frames, plus faster memory across the board. This isn't just a small step up, it's a whole new ballgame.
Okay, we have looked at the specs, we've talked about performance, and we've even checked out the alternatives.
Now it's time to bring it all home and figure out which one of these cards is the right one for you in 2025.
Let's break this down. If you're all about value and efficiency, and you're mostly gaming at 1440p, the RTX 4070 is a no-brainer. It's the clear winner. Now, if you're a performance junkie who wants to crank every setting to max and dabble in more serious AI, the RTX 4070 Ti gives you that real power bump you're looking for. For the serious AI developer who's worried about VRAM, that 16 gigs on the 4070 Ti Super makes it the most practical pick here. And finally, if you're trying to future-proof your rig and want the best long-term value, honestly, waiting for an RTX 50 series card is probably your smartest play.
We have covered a ton of ground today, but of course, there's always more to learn and even more data you can dig into.
So if you want to get really nerdy and dive deep into all the benchmarks and specs, you should absolutely check out the source for this explainer. We've gone ahead and put the direct link right in the description for you.
And that kind of brings us to our final big question. With Blackwell on the horizon, promising to completely change the game, is right now the absolute last best time to snag a great deal on the 40 series? Or is waiting for the future the only smart move left? Thanks for joining us.